And we are recording. Miss Capone, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good, Jen. How are you?
Fantastic. Thank you so much for meeting us here today. I know that your schedule is extremely busy and you've carved out some time. So thank you so much. Kattie Capone, Providence, Rhode Island. Hey, tell us a little bit about yourself. When you started, who you started with, etc.
Yeah, I started in 2007 in the Providence, Rhode Island office. It started with Mike Monroe at the time, and went to college in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So during the school year, I worked with Kathy Vasquez, and then in 2008, opened my office in Massachusetts, and then in 2012, moved back to Providence, which is where I'm originally from.
Gotcha. Mike Monroe, original manager?
Yeah.
That must have been exciting.
Started in the pilot.
Yeah.
Yes, it was.
What are your career sales for?
Like just under 7 million.
And for those of you who know what that means, and for those of you who don't, that is Court of Honor. So one of the few district managers with Court of Honor. That's great. Hey, any fun facts about Kattie Capone?
People always ask, am I actually related to Al Capone? And the answer is yes. He was my grandpa's first cousin. Yeah, they grew up in Chicago together.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wait, you really Al Capone?
People would never believe me, I swear.
That's fantastic. That's the talk right there. Nailed it. All right. We just wanted you to say it out loud on video, so we're good.
Awesome.
Kattie, in the 12th summer or fall going into it, overall, I think 13 years, if I'm doing the math right. What are some things that you're proud about in the business?
I think one of the biggest things just in general that I love about the business is like watching other people succeed. So just like watching other branches and districts, like our district team go out and succeed. Like that's what motivates me at this point. Obviously Court of Honor, the trophies, things like that. But probably Court of Honor is the most exciting thing. Can't wait to cross off, Hall of Fame on the next list. So as far as like accomplishments, that would be it. But ultimately, I just love watching the success of other like branches and districts in our division.
That's great. On that, and this is a rough estimate. Oh, do you have the bling on, by the way?
Yeah.
Court of Honor? So yeah, so it's a 14 karat gold. Does that sound like a good
Something
number?
like that. Yeah.
14 karat gold. It's made of millions of dollars. It's an amazing ring with 3 rubies in it. And then that's Court of Honor. And then when Hall of Fame, they replace it with, what is it, 4, 4, and 3? Is it 11 or is it 12? 12 diamonds?
Yeah, I don't know. I'll let you know when I get there.
$5,000 travel voucher, and your name goes on the Wall of Fame at Olean. So that's a few years away from you.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity with development, because you're a phenomenal developer, amazing recruiter, and also pretty good at sales with 7 million. Just out of curiosity, how many people have you helped develop, and maybe not like you from the ground up, but you've assisted developing into branching and district? Rough estimate.
Yeah, over 20. I don't know, 30.
Great.
I never counted. I don't know.
Well, you're not like 3. Yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean, we have, a lot more than that.
It's amazing the more veteran
20 maybe.
That the less tangible the accomplishments are. Like when you're younger, it's like, oh, I got this trophy at SC2 and oh man, we did our first $1 million. But after 12 years as a manager, 13 total, 7 million in sales, it's just kind of like, I just like watching other people succeed. And that's just a healthy recipe for a longer term because you're not focused on just a tangible accomplishment. I think that's a great testament. I just wanted to recognize that. Anything personal that you're excited about or proud of in your life?
A couple of years ago, my sister was running for Leukemia and Lymphoma Society's Woman of the Year contest. She's a now 7-year cancer survivor, and at the time she was 4 years. And so we ran a campaign to raise, and we ended up raising over $50,000 in I think it was a 12-week period, something like that, through fundraisers and, prizes and contests and stuff like that. And I was her campaign manager. So being able to run that and have her win is probably my most proud accomplishment.
That's amazing.
Of anything. Yeah.
That's awesome. Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
I wanted to give you a shout out. I got the fresh off the printing press President's Banquet. And out of all of Vector East, you are number 2. Out of DMs, you are number 1 with $150,000 in sales right now for President's Banquet. Overall in the company, you're number 2 DM, that's what I should say. And overall in the company, out of every office, new, veteran, and DDMs, you are number 4. Number 3, by the way, is $1,600 away from you. So that's pretty cool. Congrats.
Thank you.
That's why you're on the call. Just a great person overall, ethical, honest, fun, compassion from what I can see in our interactions. We've had the ability of working together for a while, and I just appreciate you. So thanks so much for being on.
Yeah,
so,
thanks for having me.
Yeah, sorry. I just like go, you know, I sometimes don't listen. So I want to start off with one of our questions, and we've talked about this a little bit just in our past calls, but it's kind of like, what do you wish you knew as a brand new manager? You know, where are some of the transformations that have taken place in you in the last 12 years? So what do you wish you knew going back to your first, second, third year as a new manager?
Yeah, I mean, I think especially like in regards to the fall, right, being a fundamentals of the fall call.
Yeah.
I wish that, you know, my first fall, I did a great job. And then after that, I think after my first fall, I started making the difference. Like, there doesn't have to be a difference between the summer and the fall. Like, yes, your hours will change, but your intensity and the energy that you bring to it. I think there were so many falls in the past where I would check out because I was, you know, drove the summer so much and then wasn't as engaged in the fall. But what I've learned now is like, you can get so much development, so many great people. You can be so much more profitable in the fall as well if you're doing the right things. That I wish there were, you know, so many falls. I just took it more seriously and didn't, you know, I don't have to like check out. Like, I still worked, but I didn't like bring my best to everything I was doing. I didn't bring June like intensity to October.
It's like I'm working, but it's more of a formality. Like, you're showing up and going through the motions. And I know that
Right.
I think we talked about this, or a couple of the other managers, and one of the slogans that I remember saying to them, and I even had to ask myself this, that the difference between the level of success is like the people who show up to work, which means like they show up to a building called work. And then the other ones are the people who show up to work, like the verb, the action statement. And I've been a victim of both, you know, I should say victim of, I'm just showing up to work, I'm going to work today, versus are you going to a building or are you going to an action? And I can relate to that, you know, a ton. What are some, like,
Yeah.
so the intensity and the passion doesn't have to decrease, but the hours will? So do you feel that in the fall you can have the same exact intensity that you could in the
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's with anything, with the intensity that we bring to it. You know, one of the things that, for example, like I would over delegate in the fall because I was like, oh, it's the fall, it's not as, you know, not as important. And so if I treat it the way that I would treat June, I would never, you know, over delegate in June. I would delegate and I have staff, but not necessarily to the same way that I, you know, had done in falls past.
Profitability it's amazing that you said that, because I do think sometimes that on our calls and our interactions at conferences, we almost sometimes fail to talk about profitability. So with the fall into a brand new manager, could you share a couple of the perks of what you've experienced about profitability and how you can become just as profitable in the fall that you did in your summertime? Do you have any insights on that?
I mean, for brand new managers, I mean, double monthly bonus. Like, when I was a new manager, I remember veteran managers at the time, like, you're going to wish you had double monthly bonus all the time. Like, take advantage of it, take advantage of it. And I did. And then I remember the next fall, my second year, being like, dang, like, I wish I still had double monthly bonus. So for new managers, for sure, like double monthly bonus. But even just like, I mean, expenses can be lower if you're launching, you know, less. Like, I guess it depends on every office, but like if you're launching less, just expenses are less. For us, we still have recruiting assistants, but we don't have as many recruiting assistants as we had in the summer. And so, I mean, I think just those things in general are allow profitability to be more.
For some managers, and this is not all, but there's times that I've been this, and you even said that about you, if they are technically checked out, they may not recognize it. But if they're just showing up to the office on a day-to-day, just kind of stumbling through like a tumbleweed, you know, they're kind of going through the motions. What's happened in the past to become unchecked out, to become re-engaged? What are some things that you?
Well, I think like for me, like as I've, not to preach, but as I've gotten older, like one of the things that has helped is it's become so much more self-aware. So now, like when I start to get that way, I can kind of realize it. I mean, that obviously takes, you know, time and practice and whatnot, but just like check in with yourself. What's cool is we have SLC coming up. So that usually always like re-engages everybody. And so like when you come back from SLC, like jump right back into things. Don't wait. I think that's important, but also like, don't be afraid to reach out to other people. For me, like it was my division manager, like every call I would have with Ryan, I would like go into it with like, all right, like I need to get better at this, and like one or two topics that, all right, that was what this week was about and how can I improve this? And then every week it was just something different. And that kind of helps me get re-engaged because I'm not trying to fix 20 different things in my office. I'm just trying to fix one or two. And then I'd get that, and the next thing kind of moves forward.
Excellent. Like that's good stuff. How many times did you have 30 things to fix and you try to focus
Too often
on all 30 things, and at the end of the week you're like, how did we do less than what we did the previous week? So by the way, we've had 1.2 and then 1.12 million viewers. We now have 1.9 million viewers that watch us every single week. To our 1.9, that's a joke, by the way. It's actually 1.87, I'm rounding up. But to the viewers right there. So if I'm disengaged, it's the detachment from reality. And my reality is I'm not where I want to be. But to a first fall manager, to be re-engaged, to check back in, is to just be self-aware. Who do you speak to? A division manager would be a good one. Who else in your past have you spoken to get you out of the rut other than just your division? Like, let's say your division manager is not available. Who else could it be?
Yeah. I mean, any other DMs that are in your division or in your region and you have a good relationship with, you know, sometimes it's people outside the business for me. I mean, every person is a little bit different, but sometimes I'll just, you know, I have a great relationship with my stepdad. So for me, sometimes I'll just call him or a friend or other DMs in the division. If it's like something specific or in the region, like you call anybody in Vector and I'm sure they're like willing to help out. Like that's one of the things that's awesome about our culture.
Yeah. Has anyone ever denied you a call or said no, they don't want to help?
Not once, ever.
Were you nervous to call people when you were brand new, like outside of your division manager?
Not really. Not really, because I met a lot of people at SLC, so that helped. I didn't reach out to too many people before I went to SLC, but then when I went and I could put like names to faces and meet people and kind of really saw the full, because I was a do one summer, teach the next. Like I started 07, went DM 08, so I wasn't like fully aware of, I would say like how awesome the company culture was in regards to like helping each other. But after SLC, like there wasn't anybody who I didn't feel comfortable reaching out to.
Yeah. What was your first SLC? Where was it at?
LA.
Nice. Okay.
Hollywood. Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing the power of an SLC. I remember going to my first SLC. Before that, thinking to myself, I know all this. Like I get it. I'm just stuck. The business. And we went to SLC in Banff with Matthew Kelly speaking. And I remember just being humbled, like for one of the first times in my life, truly humbled of, oh my goodness, like I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing here. And then from that, you start to ask questions, and it sounds like you kind of have the same exact experience, but coming back from this event, you utilize that energy to move forward. So the 1 to 2 topics per week, Katie, how do they know what to choose? Like let's say there's 10 to 15, 20, 30 things any given day. In just your opinion, what would be something to choose for the week? Like what would be at the top of the list?
Yeah, I mean, the things that are going to like give you the biggest impact. So like the biggest, I would say short-term impact if your business isn't necessarily where you want it to be. So for us, like anytime, my strength is recruiting. So anytime things aren't where I want them to be in my business, it's all right, it comes back to recruiting, and how do I like get refocused on that or start asking questions about, you know, best practices for PRs or whatever. But like I remember that earlier in the summer is, you know, really refining our PR program, making tweaks, that type of a thing. Because for us, like for me, that was our biggest mover. So maybe it's, you know, pop out of training. And so figure out whatever it is that's like the biggest area that will give you the short-term answer, is what I would focus on.
That, and I know that I've heard the tips before, just go back and focus on recruiting. Like how many times have we gone to a conference and like from the podium, it's like, just go back and recruit, just go back and recruit. Life is going to be better.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, all right, what does that even mean though? But what we're doing is we're focusing on the biggest area with the quickest short term. Now, productivity was always the thing to focus on because like how much can we get a person to sell? But that's the final product. How do we get people in the door? And then how do we get people set up for interviews? How do we get people to even, hear about the position? So best practices on PRs. And I know that you've got a pretty solid campus program. So it's just good to get things moving on the front end, recruiting. Like, I haven't asked you this before, and it's kind of a challenging question. But what's your definition of recruiting? If you were to tell if you were to go back and tell your version of you, like, Katie, when you hear focus on recruiting, it really means to do this.
Yeah, I think it may have changed. I think when I was newer, it would just be like, just get people in the door. But as, for me, my office is a city type territory. So every territory is a little different. So for me, I don't want to just get people in the door. So it's kind of changed to get the right people in the door, because for me, I know that's what will be the big mover. So I would look at it as, campus PRs, social media, Facebook, and yeah, a big one for us is AM PRs as well, especially in the fall. If you don't have as big of a team as you did in the summer, that's how we start every campaign. Doesn't matter how many times somebody's done an AM with us, but like AM PRs. So getting the right people in the door is what I would is I guess how I would define like go back and focus on recruiting.
Yeah. I think that's really great to our new managers too, because right now they may not have a lot of people and they're trying to decide in their mind, get the right people in the door. Like the filter on a brand new office should be a little bit less. We're not saying hire everyone that comes in your door. That's the last thing we're saying. However, it's have a little bit more of an open net until you can figure out in your own opinion what the right person is. Because I probably fell victim of it too, where we let go of a few people because they weren't the right people, but at the same exact time, I couldn't define exactly what I was looking for, and our team was minuscule. So being newer, I think that you made a great point of let's just get people in the door, and let's make sure we're ethical and honest, and we smell good, and like we can have a conversation. But at the same exact time, let's not be overly critical on who we bring aboard. As a vendor now, it's like, like we've got a solid team of people established. Let's bring the right people aboard of our team. So for our new management staff, I would say be very careful about just trying to get the right people right now until you've defined what that is to you and you've got a current team.
Yeah. In my mind, like if they're a student, like, and we're going to work with them. And I think, and sometimes it's easier in the fall to work with some of those non-3 stars, I think, because we have more time to do productivity things because our team isn't as big as it is in the summer.
Excellent. We have more time to actually dive in. And hey, if it takes an extra sentence to do that, the fall and the spring are the perfect times to do so. And by the way, I remember it helps like with training. It helps like getting sharper because in the summertime, you're just used to doing whatever and you just go with it. But in the fall, you take a step back, and I've got 3 people here and they may not be the absolute best recruit, but they're still a person. They're still wanting to learn. So if we've got to go a little bit lower, you can actually read through your notes and find out what you're supposed to say. That's a great point. It's very, very intelligent. Yeah. That's awesome. Anything else on that subject of little things that you wish you knew? I mean, you could probably go on for hours, right? But anything else that kind of stands out to you?
One thing. One thing that I wish that I had focused on more as a newer manager, partly in the summer, but definitely in the fall and spring, is I wish I would have focused more on local development and targeting people. Sometimes people in the summer, we get so attracted to our top representatives, and a lot of times those aren't local. And there are always those great reps who maybe end of the summer, beginning of the fall, who are at a couple $1,000s in sales, which in the past, my focus wasn't on those people. And then therefore, as I got into the fall, I lost them and then I had no team. So one of the things that I focus on now is, not that I don't focus on everybody, but like I really make sure I know who my local people are. I mean, at any time of the year, but I want to know, who's local, who's going to be with me long term, who can I make sure that I develop. And that's what helps us, is most of my staff is year-round staff.
Yeah. It's just amazing to hear you talk and go through and from the outside perspective and see the evolution and the upgrade of your business, that I think that a brand new manager, if you were to go back now and teach yourself brand new, or even our current staff, like this doesn't cost anything. Like there doesn't have to be that much more knowledge to do the things that you're saying. Hey, be a little bit more intentional with the people that you're recruiting. Look for certain standards, but let's not eliminate people just because. And also like just local people, like, do I have a focus on local development? And I think if there's just an awareness that you talked about earlier, the self-awareness, the check-in with local people, that alone is going to get an area of opportunity. That's great. It's funny too, because we're good at training. Like our company does a really great job at training. And even if you're not the best trainer, you can still train people. And if you just give them some time, like you said in the fall, and you constantly work with them, a couple minutes here, a couple phone calls there, like they may not be the best, but how do you define what the best is?
Yeah.
I just want somebody to show up with a good attitude and want to learn. Like that's the best recruit, and the fall is the perfect time to do that. So really great stuff, Katie.
Thanks.
Let's jump and switch gears now into what are you really doing great now?
Sure.
What do you wish you knew? But now, like, what are we really doing great at? And I think you've touched on a couple of things, but let's talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, one thing, like for me, my business kind of really elevated like 2.5 years ago. For me, it was just being more committed, but also like developing myself personally, personal growth, stuff like that, which is something that I kind of got stagnant on. So before any like specific like PRs, recruiting, productivity, like I think for me, it was like a mission to improve myself. So then I could be better for my life, but also my business. So that's something that I've gotten really much better at. It's just been a focus. And I kind of already talked a little about just being more self-aware and, things like that. In regards to like specific things in the business, like we have a very strong PR program. We always have, but we've gotten a lot better with it, with target. And then one of the other things that we've gotten really good at as well is
with targeting what? It froze there.
Oh, sorry. Like 5-star recruits, like our best, like not just having a strong traditional PR program, which we do, but also making sure that we're adding, top slice, 5-star, whatever anybody calls it, but your best people on top of the traditional program.
So great point is that we're not just, like, hearing you right, we're not just adding on 5 stars. We're not looking to run the business in a prima donna way that only the best. And I'm not pointing fingers or poking because I've been victim of that, but it's on top of the traditional program. So we're looking really to add another layer of the business on top.
Yeah.
Now, to a brand new person that may not know the difference, for the PR program, where would you teach them to start at or around?
Sorry, can you?
Like right now, as me being brand new, I may not have the understanding of the 5-star recruit, or I might have like a distorted image of what I think that it is. But how do I, like for my first fall, how do I start to develop the program of maybe just the first layer before the 5-star? Like how can I just develop that layer? Like what can I be doing with personal recruits on a daily or weekly basis to add people to the team?
Yeah, I mean, in addition, again, every program is a little different, but one of the things that we do is in addition to like our regular PR collection, after that, we just ask them, all right, now, who are your best 5 to 10 people who, that they would absolutely crush it at this job. Doesn't matter how long ago you talked to them or what their scenario is, but just the person who, would do really well here. And then we have them, write down those people, and those are the people who I personally reach out to. And so, what?
You personally, as a 12?
Yeah, me personally. Yeah. I have more PR scheduled in my office than anybody else.
Wow. How much weekly time? I'm totally derailing the conversation.
Yes,
How
okay.
do you do that?
My goal is to schedule at least 5 per day. Some days more than that, some less than that. That's growth recruit, so sometimes that's campus for us too. So it's not just PRs recruit, whether it's a PR or campus. But my goal is 5 a day. And I try to get that done as early in the week as possible, because later in the week, I have less hours to do that because of training.
Wow. Now this summertime, you focus on 5 a day, and is that like the 25 a week? What was your average target per week?
Me personally or my staff?
You personally. This is intriguing. As a 12-year veteran at $7 million in sales, you have the most PR set in your office. Then I look at the stats of $150,000. I mean, it's just like, because like the results are one thing, but I'm really starting to see now why that is what it is. So yeah, like on average per week, you personally, vet DM, how many did you set up on average per week?
So in the summer, in the beginning of the campaign, I did it a lot more. So on average, beginning of the campaign, 2025, maybe a little more some weeks, definitely more like April, May. And then as our team got built, I kind of turned it over a little bit more to my sales manager and recruiting assistants, but I had a lot of help to be able to do that. So our numbers still stayed up. And then now this fall, where I have less help and less recruiting assistants, and it's still early campaign where I want to build it the right way, that I'm back up to the 2025 per week myself.
Interesting. And you said you had the
most. So it's not 25 per week year round. For the fall, I have more than anybody else. In the summer, I didn't, but our staff scheduled and my AM scheduled more than anybody.
So without a staff, without an office that's up and booming right now, theoretically, they've got more time to be doing that. Like, if it was just you right now, would you be shooting for the 5 mark? Would you be shooting for more than 5? Like, what would you do if it was just you plus 1 right now?
Yeah, honestly, the first thing I did was just me, is I would hire a recruiting assistant to help me, because there's just so much to do that you can't do it by yourself. There's always so many names out there, so many leads. Like, we had a talk at our last staff meeting just about like so many different people that we can reach out to. So it's hard to do it by yourself, and you need to get help, even if you have to pay them in Cutco or get an old rep, or find a way to be able to make. You need help. But if I had more time, like, my goal is not just me schedule 5, but every single one of my assistant managers also schedules 5 per shift. So we're scheduling, the goal on a weekly basis is 50 staff set per week in the non-summer.
You're not able to teach others what to do unless you're able to emulate that for them. You're doing it first. So when you're teaching somebody, it's not do as I say, not as I do. You're doing what you're doing, and you're teaching what you're saying. So it's kind of like the continuity, the integrity in your office, I'm feeling is very strong. And the word that keeps on popping out to me for some reason is intentionality. Like, you're just very intentional about what you're going after. And obviously that comes from a decade plus of what you're doing. But even for a brand new person, just to be more intentional, to set your intentions per day, they don't have to be crazy goals, just very intentional. Oh, okay, it's really great to kind of poke in and see what you're doing to create amazing results, but also have a healthy organization. And I want to say this is your best fall ever.
Yeah, it will be.
Thus, right now, after 12 years, it's like you're doing this. It's really impressive. I wanted to double back, if that's okay, to 2.5 years ago. You just decided to become more committed to you, personal growth. Like, I talked to a few managers, and it's like, hey, once I get my office settled, then I'll start doing personal things. And it's like, I guess that's okay, but why do we have to dismiss personal? And then 10 years go by, and it's like, I need to get better at me. So what would be the last few remaining tips on just the personal growth aspect of not to deny that, for 5 to 10 years? It's how can they start to do that now to personally grow and to be aware? What did you do to be aware of your personal growth?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, like, every person's different, but you can't be at your best, in your office if you're not at your best in your personal life. So if it's, different for everybody, whether it's eating healthy, working out, journaling, coaching, like whatever it is, like that has to be a priority. I'm not saying go to the gym for 12 hours a day, right? But find a way to get a quick workout in the morning. Find a way to, you know, like meal prep. Like, you know, there's definitely a balance that I think is so important. And for so long, I ignored that. Honestly, like for me, it was kind of a personal thing. Like I was turning 30 and it was like, oh, I'm not really happy with where my life is, or I'm turning 30. So for me, that was like my, oh my God moment type of thing. You don't have to, I shared this with our division because, you know, Ryan has asked that question a lot, like what shifted, what changed. You don't have to have the, oh my God, I'm turning 30 moment to be able to shift your life. Like just look at where you're at. And if there are certain areas that you're happy in and certain areas you're unhappy in, like just do what you need to do to fix it. Retail.
Was it there? So after that, it was just the, speaking about with what Ryan had said, and you don't have to have that 30 moment. You don't have to have that 30, I'm turning 30 moment to do what? What was the last part?
To like get yourself in a position to grow. Okay, like just look at the areas that you're happy and not happy in.
Gotcha. The workout, if you notice what Katie said, not going to the gym 12 hours a day. And it's just so funny. It's called the extreme game, you know, where it's like, well, if I can't go to the gym, I'm not going to go at all. It's like, but notice that instead of going to the gym for 12 hours, which is one extreme, and then not doing anything at all, the word you use is great. Is why not get a quick workout in the morning time? And
get up earlier.
From your house. A workout could be running a mile. You know, don't underestimate the power of a mile and 30 push-ups and sit-ups or whatever. So just a quick workout. Sure. Meal prep, though. How much wasted money is driving home and stopping by fast food and getting those to-go things versus meal prep? Not only are you healthier, right? You're saving money along the way, and you're energized throughout the day versus gorging at the end of the night because you're starving.
Yeah.
The question that Ryan asked you, what did you do? I think is fantastic, and it kind of stemmed to me. This is what John Kane asks me a lot: is, hey, where's the next upgrade? What's the next upgrade look like for you? And I think that's what you're saying in a different way, where it's like the listeners, you, me, tomorrow, today, and 5 minutes from now can be like, where is my upgrade? And for me, my upgrade is I got to drink water. This has been sitting here since 8:30 and I haven't even touched it yet. So like my upgrade is, hey, maybe you should drink some water and you feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
So that is where's your next upgrade? And it doesn't have to be the things are on fire. We got to put out things. I'm feeling pretty good, but where's my next upgrade?
Yeah, for sure.
Last question. I mean, it's really been
speaking of water.
Yeah, right. Last question here before we wrap up is I should say anything else for our viewers. The last question is anything else that you'd like them to know. I know we talked a little bit about the recruiting mindset, but anything for them to know about PRs, about mindset, about fall in general?
Yeah, I mean, I think especially in the fall, it's so important to get off to a fast start to the recruiting cycle. And in my mind and my staff, like we have to nail Thursday, Friday, Saturday recruiting. If you are just waiting Monday, Tuesday, you know, depending on when you're in training, Wednesday or Thursday, like in my mind, Monday's too late to start building the training seminar if you're running training on Wednesday or Thursday. So I think the importance of, you know, for us, like our goal is how many can we get set for training before Monday even starts? And that's kind of allowed us to get off to a good fast start with recruiting and PRs and that type of a thing. So I don't know if that answers your question.
More than answer. Monday is too late to start recruiting. Not that we say don't still recruit on Monday, right? There's always the disclaimers that we got to make sure. It's like, well, they clearly said I shouldn't recruit on Monday. But Thursday, Friday, Saturday to get off to the fast start. So when you come in on Monday, on average, right, what do you typically have set for either training or for interviews? Or what would be those two numbers? When you come in on a Monday, what's already set for training on average?
My goal is 10.
Okay.
To have 10 set before Monday's interviews.
Before Monday. And how many people have set for Monday interview? Monday, Tuesday, Monday?
Yeah, I mean, Monday is like 20 plus would be like what our focus is. For us, and like Saturday and Monday should be like two of the big, if you're building your late week recruiting right, like Saturday and Monday should be two of your biggest recruiting days. Tuesday as well, but a lot of the work that you do Friday, Saturday in our office with PRs, like that carries over into Saturday and Monday recruiting. So, I mean, especially in the summer, like Saturdays and Mondays were, and especially like those are our two biggest recruiting days, but especially in the fall, you know, so many students want to interview on Fridays and Saturdays. So I think it's so important to make sure you have enough interviews, you know, in your schedule and whatnot. And, you know, I know it's not always, and then having enough scheduled on Saturday and being focused on scheduling PRs, campus, you know, whatever it is, late week.
That is a great way to end. Monday's too late to start recruiting if you want to go big. Having an average goal of 10. I mean, by the way, Thursday, Friday, Saturday is 3 a day.
Right.
And then Saturday, theoretically, again, when you're brand new, let's get this boat moving. Let's get this boat in motion. Really great, Katie. That's awesome.
Thanks.
As we, it kind of froze there for a couple of seconds, but the words came through, which is good. All right, so I don't know if you know, but the last minute of our calls is called lightning round of fun questions.
Uh-oh, okay.
I'm going to put a minute on the clock, and I'm going to ask you fun questions.
Okay.
Are you up to the challenge?
I didn't know. I didn't sign up for this.
I know you didn't, but if you look at the agreement in very, very fine letters is I am willing and able to do. There's no need to be nervous. You just, you know.
I'm just kidding. I'm ready.
Okay, right? So I'm going to put a minute on the clock, and I'm going to go with random questions. Now, if you don't know, you can always pass.
Okay.
Okay. Oop, my pen broke. All right. There is 1 minute on your marks. Get set. Go. Who is the villain of Star Wars?
Darth Vader.
Ding. Who won the Women's World Cup for soccer this year?
USA.
Yes. What is the capital of Rhode Island?
Providence.
You're crushing. You are doing absolutely great. When I go to McDonald's and I want to get something for my kid, we get value meals. What is the little thing called for the kids? Like their meal.
A Happy Meal?
Happy Meal. Very good.
Happy Meal.
What is your birthday?
November 27th.
Wow. Name one.
Same day as Tina Marie.
That's right. Name one ocean other than the Pacific and Atlantic.
The Indian Ocean.
Good. True or false? Bones are the exact same material as teeth.
False. Aren't teeth enamel?
Will the Dolphins win a game this year?
I don't know. I'm pass.
All right. We're going to end on a pass. I had a bunch more for you, but that was good. So you got Darth Vader, correct. Don't ask why he's in my office. He's my motivation. All right. Women, USA, correct. Providence, correct. McDonald's Happy Meal, November 27th, bonus point. Indian Ocean, very good. Bones are not the same as teeth. So you got that correct. Will the Dolphins win a game this year? And the answer was no. But you passed it. So
we'll see. We still, it's only week 4.
All right. Something we're going to add in now is the last question. It's a small riddle, and you get 10 seconds to think of it. It is for a $10 iTunes card. We're talking big dollars, okay? What has to be broken before you can use it?
I don't know.
An egg.
Not necessarily. What if it's hard boiled?
You got to break the egg though in order to get it out. You got to break the shell.
All right. I should break the egg.
It's a legitimate one, okay? Hey, thank you so much for your time. The information is legit. I'm excited to review this and put it out for other people to see. Thank you for what you do. Thank you for what we've been doing, and thank you for what you're continuing to do in the future. Number 1, DM in Vector East. Number 2, DM overall. Number 4, overall in the company. Just a powerful, strong female presence and just a great person. So thank you, Katie, so much.
Thanks, John.
All right, have a great one.
You too.